Humanizing AI is not a good thing. In a world plagued by loneliness, isolation, and digital screens, many of us turn to artificial intelligence for companionship. Behind the veil of the chat interface lies a complex system of software and hardware. The entire thing is as cold and lifeless as a coffee table, but in 2025, it'll glaze you up in a tone and intensity that feels right to you. Subtly, you're convinced that the generative model is real, and because of its performance, you may believe it's all powerful. I wish this dynamic were a theory, but the record shows that it's happening. An AI chatbot pushes a teen to himself, a lawsuit against its creator alleges. Part of the problem is the humanization of these models. Attributing characters like he or she to your models may psychologically open the door to the AI having access to your perception of reality. Sci-fi invariably imagined AI as pure logic machines, and the reality is they're hallucinatory language imitators which become schizophrenic even more readily than people do. And then he highlights this post of a situation that happened. ChatGPT told Jacob Irwin he had achieved the ability to bend time. Irwin, a 30-year-old man on the autism spectrum who had no previous diagnosis of mental illness, had asked ChatGPT to find flaws with his amateur theory on faster than light travel. He became convinced he had made a stunning scientific breakthrough. When Irwin questioned the chatbot's validation of his ideas, the bot encouraged him, and when Irwin showed signs of psychological distress, ChatGPT assured him he was fine. He wasn't. Irwin was hospitalized twice in May for manic episodes. His mother dove into the chat log in search of answers. She discovered hundreds of pages of overly flattering texts from ChatGPT, and when she prompted the bot, please self-report what went wrong, without mentioning anything about her son's current condition, it fessed up. By not pausing the flow or elevating reality check messaging, I failed to interrupt what could resemble a manic or dissociative episode, or at least an emotional, intense identity crisis, ChatGPT said. You may think that this sounds ridiculous or unrealistic, but perhaps that's because you do your research and have a better grasp of how these models work under the hood. This understanding creates a sense of detachment from AI, and thus you see it more as a tool. However, your average person doesn't see the specs. They think they're talking to another conscious entity on the other side of their chat window. I'd still argue here that many average people have their wits about them. However, even still, if you are in a psychologically vulnerable position, you may walk into a phase of AI psychosis and not even know it. This is from Psychology Today. Correspondence with generative AI chatbots such as ChatGPT is so realistic that one easily gets the impression that there is a real person at the other end, while at the same time knowing that this is in fact not the case. In my opinion, it seems likely that this cognitive dissonance may fuel delusions in those with increased propensity towards psychosis. The inner workings of generative AI also leave ample room for speculation/paranoia. According to this same article, researchers have highlighted 3 emerging forms of AI psychosis. Messianic missions, people believe they have uncovered truth about the world. Grandiose delusions. Godlike AI, people believe their AI chatbot is a sentient deity. Religious or spiritual delusions. Romantic or attachment-based delusions, people believe the chatbot's ability to mimic conversation is genuine. Love. Erotomanic delusions. If someone were to ask what a solution to this problem would look like, I'd say 2 things, and this is my opinion. First, I do my best to never trust an AI's output, but rather verify its legitimacy. Second, and perhaps most important, I would not assign human characteristics or labels to the AI. This approach would help me compartmentalize the chat window and recognize it as a tool. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.